Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and friends, I stand before you today to speak about a force that is more powerful than any physical strength, more influential than any external circumstance, and more transformative than any material possession. This force is the power of positive thinking. Let me begin by saying this. Your mind is your greatest asset. The thoughts you carry today will shape the life you live tomorrow. Everything you are, everything you have, and everything you will become starts right here in your mind. It is the battlefield where the seeds of success or failure are planted. What you believe about yourself, your abilities, and your potential determines the reality you experience. The power of positive thinking starts with belief. What you believe about your future, your destiny, and your purpose is the foundation for everything that follows. You see, belief is not simply a passive state of mind. It is an active force. It is the unseen energy that propels you forward when life seems uncertain. And it's the light that keeps shining when darkness surrounds you. The belief that you can overcome obstacles, achieve great things, and make a difference in the world, this belief is the first step to unlocking your potential. Think about it. The greatest inventions, the most remarkable achievements, and the most influential leaders throughout history were not driven by circumstances or the resources they had. They were driven by what they believed was possible. And guess what? You are no different. You are capable of extraordinary things, but you must first believe it. But here's the reality. Negative thoughts will come. They will try to creep into your mind like weeds, attempting to suffocate the flowers of possibility. They will tell you that you're not enough, that you can't make it, or that your dreams are too big. But let me remind you, your mind is like a garden. If you do not actively plant positive thoughts and nurture them, the weeds of negativity will take over. So, be intentional. Choose to replace those negative thoughts with positive ones. Every time doubt enters your mind, counter it with a thought of possibility. Every time fear whispers in your ear, replace it with a thought of faith. The power to transform your life is in your ability to control your thoughts. Now let's talk about vision. Without a vision, you are like a ship without a rudder. You may be floating, but you'll never reach your destination. A positive thinker doesn't just think positively, they think with purpose. They see a clear picture of where they want to go and use their thoughts to propel them toward that destination. Vision is the driving force behind positive thinking. It's not just about hoping things will get better. It's about seeing things better and then working toward that vision with relentless determination. Your vision must be bigger than your circumstances, bigger than your past failures, and bigger than any obstacle that may come your way. When you hold a clear vision, your thoughts align with it and your actions follow. Now, let me share this important truth. Words are powerful. The words you speak over your life, your dreams, and your future are not just sounds. They are commands. You have the ability to create or destroy with your words. The tongue has the power of life and death. And it's up to you to decide what you will speak into existence. Speak positively about your life, your future, and the people around you. Speak life into your dreams. When you say, I can, you set in motion a series of events that lead to success. When you say, I am capable, you release the energy needed to tackle every challenge. Speak words of affirmation, not just to others, but also to yourself. You are your own biggest cheerleader. So don't let your words defeat you before you even begin. A positive thinker doesn't spend time lamenting over problems. No, they focus on solutions. Every problem is an opportunity, a lesson, a chance to grow. The difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful one is not that the successful person never faces problems. Is that they choose to focus us on finding a way through them. When you face a challenge, don't ask, why me? Ask instead, how can I overcome this? Focus on the solution. Shift your mindset from victimhood to empowerment. And remember this, where there's a will, there's always a way. You are not defined by your problems. You are defined by your response to them. In the journey of positive thinking, one of the most powerful tools is gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you don't have to what you do have. When you live in a state of gratitude, you train your mind to see abundance in every situation. Instead of focusing on your limitations, you begin to focus on your blessings. There is always something to be thankful for, always. Even in the midst of struggle, gratitude allows you to see the beauty in the process, the growth that comes through challenges, and the lessons that prepare you for the next level. Gratitude opens the doors to greater things in your life. Here's a hard truth. No one is coming to save you. You're the captain of your ship. Positive thinking is not about waiting for things to get better. It's about taking full responsibility for your life. You're responsible for your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Yes, life can be hard. Yes, the road can be long, but you must choose to be the architect of your own destiny. No matter where you are in life, no matter the circumstances, you can choose to rise above them. You have the power to transform your life. And it begins with owning your journey. Fear is often the greatest obstacle to achieving our dreams. But here's the secret. Fear is just a feeling, not a fact. Fear thrives in negative thinking. But when you cultivate a positive mindset, faith becomes your foundation, and fear loses its grip. Fear may whisper in your ear, but faith will shout louder. Faith in yourself, faith in your purpose, and faith in your future will propel you forward. The more you step out in faith, the smaller fear becomes. And remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. Let me leave you with this. Persistence is the key. Positive thinking does not mean that you will never face setbacks, but it does mean that you will never give up. Every failure, every disappointment, every setback is just a stepping stone to your success. It is not the end. It is the lesson that prepares you for something greater. Persistence is the fuel that keeps the engine of your dreams running. It is the unshakable belief that no matter how many times you fall, you will rise again. Success is not the result of never failing. It's the result of refusing to stay down. So my friends, I encourage you today to choose the power of positive thinking. Transform your mind, transform your life. Believe in yourself. Create a vision. Speak life. Focus on solutions and persist no matter what. You have within you everything you need to succeed. The power is already in your hands. It starts with the thoughts you think and the words you speak. The mind is an incredible force, a tool that wields more power than most of us realize. It shapes the course of our lives in ways both subtle and profound. Think about it. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you experience begins with a thought. Your thoughts are the starting point for every action you take, every decision you make, and every outcome you achieve. But it goes even deeper than that. Our thoughts are not merely passive. They are active creators of our reality. What you think about most often, what you dwell upon, what you believe to be true, eventually becomes the life you live. The mind is where every success begins. It's where dreams are born, where vision is formed, and where the path to greatness is carved. Yet it is also the place where doubts, fears, and negativity can take root if left unchecked. It's easy to underestimate the power of the mind. We often give more credit to external circumstances or physical attributes, but the truth is, our greatest battles and triumphs are fought and won within the confines of our own minds. If you want to change your life, you must first change the way you think. The mind, when properly harnessed, can help you achieve things that seem impossible. Think of the people throughout history who achieved extraordinary feats, whether they were inventors, leaders, athletes, or creators. Their accomplishments began with a thought. They saw a possibility that others couldn't, and it was that vision that propelled them to act, to push boundaries, and to overcome obstacles. They knew that the mind was not just a tool for processing information, but a powerful engine that could bring abstract ideas into reality. This is the true power of the mind. The ability to turn vision into action, imagination into reality, and potential into tangible success. Every thought we have sends signals to our subconscious mind, which then guides our actions and behaviors. It is this subconscious programming that dictates how we approach challenges, how we interact with others, and how we view the world. If we think negatively, we are reinforcing a pattern that will ultimately manifest itself in our reality. But if we think positively, if we fill our minds with thoughts of success, growth, and possibility, we are aligning ourselves with the very forces that help us achieve our goals. Our minds are constantly at work, either helping us move forward or holding us back. And it's entirely up to us to decide which way that force flows. This means that the key to mastering our circumstances lies not in changing the world around us, but in changing the world within us. Our external conditions are often beyond our control, but how we respond to them, how we perceive them, and how we choose to think in the face of adversity, that is within our power. The moment we take control of our thoughts, you unlock the door to infinite possibilities. When we choose to believe in our potential, we begin to shape our lives in a way that reflects that belief. The mind's power also lies in its ability to influence our emotions and physical health. There is a deep connection between what we think and how we feel, and how we feel has a direct impact on how we act. Positive thinking leads to positive emotions, and positive emotions in turn lead to positive actions. This cycle creates a momentum of progress. When we believe we can succeed, we feel more confident, more determined, and more capable. This state of mind is like a magnet, drawing opportunities, ideas, and resources to us. On the other hand, negative thinking creates a cycle of discouragement, self-doubt, and fear, which often leads to inaction or poor decisions. We must therefore recognize that the mind is not just an observer of life, but a participant in shaping the world we live in. To truly tap into the power of the mind, we must first understand that it is malleable. It is not fixed, not permanent. Our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions can be changed. And in doing so, we change the very trajectory of our lives. It starts with awareness, recognizing the impact of our thoughts and the patterns they form. From there, we have the power to shift our thinking, to challenge our assumptions, and to create new thought patterns that serve us rather than hinder us. The mind is not just a passive entity. It is the most powerful tool we possess, capable of shaping our reality in ways we often fail to recognize. To unlock this power, we must first take responsibility for our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions. We must become conscious creators of our mental landscape, choosing thoughts that empower us, thoughts that align with our vision, and thoughts that push us toward greatness. By mastering the mind, we unlock the potential for limitless growth, success, and fulfillment. Belief is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, and it begins with a simple truth. What you believe shapes the life you lead. Your beliefs are like a lens through which you view the world. They determine how you interpret your circumstances, how you perceive your abilities, and how you approach the future. They are the silent drivers behind every action you take, every decision you make, and every path you choose to follow. What you believe about yourself, your potential, and your possibilities will ultimately determine the outcomes you experience. Think about the times in your life when you have achieved something extraordinary, or when you have overcome a challenge that once seemed insurmountable. More often than not, your success was not due to luck or external factors alone. It was due to the belief you had in yourself and your ability to succeed. When you believe that something is possible, you will take the necessary steps to make it happen. Your belief propels you into action, fuels your perseverance, and keeps you moving forward when things get tough. Conversely, when you believe that something is impossible, you will often stop before you even begin. You'll find excuses, look for reasons why it can't be done, and often create mental barriers that prevent you from even trying. Belief is not just an abstract concept. It has a profound, tangible effect on the way we live. It shapes our mindset and influences our behavior in ways that we may not even fully understand. If you believe that you are capable of achieving great things, you will act with confidence and conviction. You will approach challenges with a mindset of possibility, knowing that failure is simply a stepping stone toward success. You will embrace opportunities with an open heart, trusting that you have what it takes to navigate whatever comes your way. On the other hand, if you believe that you are limited, that your abilities are fixed, or that success is reserved for others, then you will operate from a place of fear and self-doubt. You'll shrink from challenges, hesitate in the face of opportunities, and second-guess your decisions. This belief in limitation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, where your fear of failure or rejection holds you back, often before you even try. The truth is, the only limitations that truly exist are the ones we place on ourselves. And those limitations often begin with the beliefs we hold about who we are and what we can achieve. One of the most significant aspects of belief is that it does not need to be based on tangible evidence or external validation. In fact, belief often precedes evidence. It is through belief that we create the reality we desire. Consider the many great achievements in history, from the inventions of brilliant minds to the movements of courageous leaders. In each case, those who changed the world believed that they could do so, even when no one else did. It is through belief that we create the reality we desire. Consider the many great achievements in history from the moment else did. They believed in something greater than the present circumstances, greater than the challenges that lay ahead, and greater than the doubts of others. It was their belief that became the foundation for their actions. And it was their actions that ultimately made the impossible possible. Belief is the seed of vision. It allows you to see a future that does not yet exist and to act as though it already does. When you truly believe in your potential and in your ability to achieve your dreams, you no longer wait for permission, for conditions to be perfect, or for the world to validate you. You step into your purpose with a confidence that you have what it takes, even when the path is unclear and the road is uncertain. Your belief becomes the fuel that drives you forward, propelling you through obstacles, doubts, and setbacks. In fact, belief is often what carries us through the difficult moments, reminding us that the challenges we face are not roadblocks, but opportunities for growth and development. But belief also requires action. It is not enough to simply think positive thoughts or wish for things to improve. True belief compels us to act in alignment with what we know to be possible. It calls us to take risks, make sacrifices, and sometimes step into the unknown. It demands that we make decisions that reflect the future we envision, not the present circumstances we face. When we truly believe in our ability to succeed, we begin to take the necessary steps to turn our dreams into reality. This belief also influences how we perceive the world and how others perceive us. When you carry a strong belief in yourself, you exude confidence and positivity. People are drawn to that energy, and opportunities seem to present themselves in ways that align with your beliefs. Your belief in yourself becomes magnetic, attracting the right people, the right circumstances, and the right opportunities that support your vision. Conversely, when you doubt yourself, others will often mirror that doubt back to you. Your lack of belief sends out a message that you are not ready or capable. And this can lead to missed opportunities, failed relationships, and unfulfilled potential. Belief is not always a natural state for everyone. It is something that must be cultivated, nurtured, and strengthened over time. It begins with small steps. Choosing to believe in your worth, believing in your potential, and believing in the possibility of a better future. As you begin to take action and experience small wins, your belief in yourself grows stronger. With each success, no matter how small, your belief expands, and you start to see yourself as the person capable of achieving even greater things. Belief is the cornerstone of success. It is the force that empowers us to go after what we want in life, despite the odds, despite the doubts, and despite the challenges. When you believe in yourself and in your dreams, you align your thoughts, your words, and your actions with the very things that will make your dreams come true. It is through belief that you break free from the chains of limitation and step into the fullness of your potential. The power of belief is not just in what it can do for you, but in what it allows you to do for the world around you. When you believe, you inspire others to believe. And together, you can create a ripple effect of positivity and possibility that transforms everything you touch. Negative thoughts are an inevitable part of the human experience. They arise in moments of doubt, fear, frustration, or uncertainty, and they have the power to shape our lives in ways that limit our potential. However, it is crucial to understand that while negative thoughts may come, we have the power to choose how we respond to them. The key to transforming negative thoughts is not to try to eliminate them entirely, but to learn how to shift our mindset and direct our focus in a more empowering direction. At the heart of transformation lies awareness. The first step in overcoming negative thinking is recognizing it for what it is. A habitual pattern that has been conditioned over time. Most of us have internalized negative thoughts from past experiences, societal pressures, or the words of others. And these thoughts have become deeply ingrained in our subconscious. But just because they are ingrained does not mean they are permanent. You are not your thoughts. You are not defined by every fleeting doubt or fear that passes through your mind. The moment you realize this, you regain control over your mental landscape. When negative thoughts arise, it's easy to let them take root and spiral into a cycle of self-criticism, worry, or pessimism. But transformation happens when we interrupt the cycle. Instead of letting the negative thought consume us, we must pause, take a breath, and consciously choose a different thought. This is where the power of positive thinking begins, by replacing negative thoughts with constructive, solution-oriented ones. This process requires practice and patience. But with time, you can train your mind to naturally lean toward the positive, the hopeful, and the optimistic. For instance, when faced with a challenge, instead of thinking, this is too hard, I'll never make it, try to reframe the thought by asking yourself, what can I learn from this? What is the next step I can take to move forward? This simple shift in thinking transforms a victim mindset into one of empowerment. It turns the problem into a solution, the obstacle into an opportunity, for growth. When you consciously choose to focus on what you can control, your energy shifts from helplessness to possibility. Another powerful tool in transforming negative thoughts is gratitude. When we focus on what we lack or what is going wrong, we often overlook the abundance around us. Gratitude, however, pulls us out of a mindset of scarcity and into one of abundance. By intentionally focusing on what you are grateful for, whether it's your health, your relationships, your skills, or the small moments of joy throughout your day, you begin to change your thought patterns. Gratitude trains the mind to seek out the positive, even in the midst of difficulties. It's like a mental reset button that brings you back to the present moment, away from the spiral of negativity. Another key to transforming negative thoughts is to question their validity. Often negative thoughts are based on assumptions, exaggerations, or misinterpretations of reality. We assume that things will turn out badly because of past experiences, or we exaggerate how catastrophic an outcome might be. But what if those thoughts aren't entirely true? What if they are simply a reflection of fear or anxiety, not reality? When you challenge the validity of your negative thoughts, you begin to see them for what they are, fleeting feelings, not facts. Ask yourself, is this thought based on evidence, or is it just my mind creating worst-case scenarios? When you adopt a more rational approach to your thoughts, you gain the ability to distance yourself from them, giving you the freedom to choose a more empowering response. At times, negative thoughts can stem from a deep-rooted belief in our own inadequacy or lack of worth. These thoughts can paralyze us, preventing us from taking action or pursuing our dreams. In such cases, self-compassion is a vital tool. Instead of berating yourself for having negative thoughts, treat yourself with the kindness and understanding you would offer a dear friend. Remember, you are human, and it is okay to have moments of doubt. Self-compassion allows you to move through those thoughts with greater ease, without attaching shame or guilt to them. It's about acknowledging the negative thought without identifying with it. Instead of saying, I am worthless because I thought this, say, I had this thought, but that does not define who I am. By practicing self-compassion, you can detach from the thought and prevent it from taking root. An important aspect of transforming negative thinking is to redirect your energy. When you spend too much time focusing on what's wrong or what could go wrong, you waste energy on things outside of your control. But when you redirect your focus to what you can do in the present moment, you begin to regain a sense of power and control. If you're facing a challenge, instead of ruminating on the worst-case scenario, direct your energy toward taking practical steps. Break down the problem into smaller, manageable tasks and focus on making progress, no matter how small. Every action you take, no matter how tiny, shifts your focus from the problem to the solution. This is the essence of proactive thinking. You stop waiting for things to change and begin making changes yourself. In some cases, affirmations can also be a powerful tool in transforming negative thoughts. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself regularly, affirming your worth, your abilities, and your potential. By speaking these affirmations out loud or writing them down, you reprogram your subconscious mind to align with positive beliefs. Over time, these affirmations replace the negative, self-limiting thoughts that have held you back. They reinforce the belief that you are capable, strong, and deserving of success. Affirmations can be as simple as, I am enough, I am worthy of success, or I am capable of overcoming this challenge. When you consistently practice affirmations, they become a natural part of your thought process, helping you to break free from negativity and embrace a mindset of growth and possibility. It's essential to surround yourself with positivity. The people we interact with, the media we consume, and the environments we spend time in all influence our thoughts. If you constantly find yourself in negative environments or surrounded by negative influences, it becomes much harder to maintain a positive mindset. Seek out relationships, content, and experiences that uplift and inspire you. And here's one. Until you begin to believe it, that which your heart confines, surround yourself with people who encourage your growth, challenge your limiting beliefs, and support your aspirations. In a positive environment, it becomes easier to shift your thoughts toward optimism, opportunity, and success. Transforming negative thoughts is not an overnight process. It requires intention, consistency, and practice. But every step you take in changing the way you think brings you closer to a life of possibility, peace, and purpose. Remember, the mind is malleable, and the more you practice redirecting your thoughts, the easier it becomes. Negative thoughts will always come, but you have the power to transform them, not by fighting them, but by choosing to replace them with thoughts that empower, uplift, and propel you forward. Vision is more than just a distant dream or an idealistic aspiration. It is a guiding force that directs the course of our lives. Without vision, we are like a ship adrift at sea, with no clear destination, no sense of purpose, and no direction to follow. Vision gives us clarity in the midst of confusion and provides a roadmap when the path ahead seems uncertain. Today, it is the spark that ignites passion, the compass that navigates us through life's challenges, and the force that propels us forward when obstacles arise. At the heart of every great achievement lies a vision. Those who have made remarkable contributions to the world, whether in science, business, art, or any other field, did not simply work towards goals. They had a vision that was bigger than their current reality. This vision served as their North Star, guiding their every move, helping them stay focused even when the journey became difficult. Vision transforms a vague idea into a tangible outcome. It turns the invisible into the visible and the impossible into the possible. It provides a clear sense of purpose, aligning all our efforts toward a singular goal. Without it, we are often left drifting from one task to the next, unsure of where we are going or why we are even doing what we are doing. Vision is not about simply looking at what is in front of you, but rather seeing what could be. It requires imagination and foresight. It demands that we look beyond our current circumstances, beyond our limitations, and beyond the barriers that might stand in our way. When we have a vision, we are no longer bound by the present moment. We are living into the future we desire, making choices that align with where we want to go, not where we currently are. A clear vision enables us to take actions that are purposeful and strategic rather than reactive or random. It helps us prioritize what truly matters and gives us the strength to say no to distractions that do not serve our higher purpose. It is often said that without a vision, people perish. This is not an exaggeration, because a life without vision lacks meaning and direction. People who lack vision often feel lost, stuck, or stagnant, caught in a cycle of survival rather than thriving. They may go through the motions of life, reacting to circumstances rather than proactively shaping their future. In contrast, those with vision live with a sense of anticipation and purpose. They understand that their life is not just a series of random events, but a journey towards something greater. Vision provides the energy needed to push through hard times and the inspiration needed to pursue dreams that seem out of reach. Having a vision also serves as a source of motivation. On days when the road is tough, when success seems distant, and when failure looms large, the vision provides the fuel to keep going. It becomes the reason you rise each morning and the reason you keep fighting through adversity. When you are aligned with a clear vision, you are no longer just working for survival or for immediate gratification. You are working for something bigger, something that aligns with your deepest values and aspirations. This higher purpose helps you to endure the inevitable challenges and setbacks, because you know that each step, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to the fulfillment of your vision. Vision also plays a crucial role in decision making. In life, we are faced with countless choices. Some are small and others are life-altering. When you have a clear vision, these choices become much easier to make. You no longer have to wonder whether a particular path is right for you because you can measure it against your vision. Does it align with your long-term goals? Does it bring you closer to the person you want to become? If the answer is yes, then it's a step worth taking. If not, then it is a detour that can be avoided. With a vision, every decision is an opportunity to either move forward or remain stagnant. And the clarity that vision provides ensures that we are always moving in the direction of our dreams. Another critical aspect of vision is its power to inspire. A compelling vision does not only inspire the individual who holds it, it has the potential to inspire everyone around them. People are naturally drawn to those who have a sense of purpose and direction. When we are clear about where we are going and why, our energy becomes magnetic. It creates a ripple effect that motivates others to take action in their own lives. Leaders, for example, are often able to galvanize teams and communities toward a common goal because they communicate a vision that resonates with the hearts and minds of others. A powerful vision brings people together, unites them with a shared sense of purpose, and fuels collective action that leads to extraordinary results. But vision is not just about having a dream or a goal. It is about clarity and commitment. A vague vision may be inspiring at first, but without clarity, it's impossible to map out the steps required to achieve it. A true vision is one that can be broken down into smaller, actionable steps. It's not just about imagining a bright future. It's about defining that future in precise terms and committing to the work that will make it a reality. This clarity is crucial because it gives us the ability to measure progress, celebrate small wins, and adjust our course as needed. A vision without clarity is like a map with no landmarks. It's hard to know where you're going or how far you've come. Furthermore, vision is dynamic, not static. It evolves with time just as we do. As we grow, learn, and gain new experiences, our vision may shift and expand. This is not a sign of failure or indecisiveness. Rather, it's a reflection of our ability to adapt and refine our aspirations in response to new insights. A vision should challenge us to grow, to expand our horizons, and to embrace the unknown. It is the fuel that propels us toward the person we are meant to become. And it often changes as we get closer to our true calling. In practical terms, creating a vision involves identifying your core values, understanding your passions, and aligning your actions with your deepest desires. It requires reflection and self-awareness to determine what truly matters to you, not what society expects of you, not what others define as success, but what feels authentic and meaningful to your soul. Once you have this clarity, you can begin to paint a picture of the future you desire. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What are you doing? Who are you becoming? This mental image becomes your vision, and it will guide every decision, every action, and every aspiration moving forward. A powerful vision keeps you grounded in the present while pulling you toward the future. It provides clarity, focus, and motivation in times of uncertainty. It allows you to make decisions that are aligned with your highest purpose, inspires others to join you in your journey, and fuels your determination even when the road is long and difficult. Without vision, we lose our sense of purpose and direction, but with it, we gain the power to create the future we desire. Words have a profound and often underestimated power. They are not just tools for communication, they are the building blocks of our reality. Every word we speak, every thought we form, and every sentence we utter carries with it the potential to shape our lives in ways we may not fully realize. Our words are like seeds, planted in the fertile soil of our minds and in the minds of others. What we say to ourselves and to those around us ultimately becomes the narrative of our lives. Consider this. The words we use are an expression of our beliefs, our thoughts, and our perceptions. When we say something, we are not simply relaying information, we are reinforcing the ideas that we hold to be true. If you constantly say, I am not good enough, or I will never succeed, those words begin to shape your self-image and influence the way you act. You start to believe that you are not capable, and as a result, you might shy away from opportunities, undermine your potential, and act in ways that limit your growth. Your words create a mental environment that fosters doubt, fear, and insecurity. On the other hand, when we speak positively and affirmatively, saying things like, I am capable, or I have what it takes to succeed, we begin to reprogram our minds for success. These positive declarations not only inspire confidence, but they also attract opportunities and circumstances that align with those beliefs. Words have the power to affirm our value and potential, allowing us to take the actions necessary to manifest our dreams. When we speak with conviction and clarity, we send a powerful signal to the universe that we are ready to receive all the good it has to offer. But it is not just the words we speak to ourselves that shape our reality. The words we speak to others do as well. Language has the ability to uplift or diminish, to empower or disempower. Think about the impact of a compliment, a kind word, or a word of encouragement. These simple expressions can have a lasting effect on someone's self-esteem, their motivation, and even their belief in what is possible. Conversely, harsh words, criticism, and negativity can break spirits, diminish confidence, and even alter the course of someone's life. The words we speak to others are like seeds that can either nurture growth or sow doubt and despair. In our relationships, the words we use create the framework for trust, understanding, and connection. A kind word can build bridges, heal wounds, and foster deep bonds. Words of appreciation and gratitude can transform the dynamics of a relationship, turning ordinary interactions into meaningful exchanges. On the flip side, words of anger, criticism, or resentment can drive wedges between people, creating walls that are hard to tear down. In this way, our words not only reflect the inner state of our minds, but also directly influence the external reality we experience in our interactions with others. Words shape our reality because they create and reinforce the stories we tell about ourselves and the world around us. Every time we speak, we are reinforcing a narrative. If we continually tell ourselves that the world is a hostile, difficult place, then we begin to see only the challenges and obstacles in front of us. If we tell ourselves that we are not worthy of success, love, or happiness, we begin to act in ways that reinforce that belief. But when we shift the story, when we speak life, affirming words, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. We begin to see the world as a place of opportunity and growth. And we start to act in ways that reflect that new story. The power of words is not limited to spoken language. Our internal dialogue plays a significant role in shaping our experience of the world. The thoughts we think, essentially the words we speak to ourselves in our minds, dictate our emotions, our actions, and even our physical state. When we are caught in a cycle of negative self-talk, it affects our mood, our energy levels, and even our health. However, by consciously choosing to shift our internal dialogue to something more empowering, we can change our emotional state, boost our energy, and improve our overall well-being. Words have the power to create a ripple effect. When we speak with positivity, kindness, and encouragement, we inspire others to do the same. The words we choose to express can ignite change, create unity, and even spark movements. A powerful speech or a single well-placed word of encouragement can motivate millions, shift collective consciousness, and lead to transformation on a global scale. A word's sole promise to drive through transformation can lead to transformation on a global scale. History is filled with examples of individuals whose words sparked revolutions, movements, and paradigm shifts. The spoken word is a catalyst for change, capable of shaping the future and altering the course of history. In addition to their influence on others, words also have a remarkable effect on our own energy and emotions. The language we use influences the way we feel, and in turn, how we show up in the world. When we use words of gratitude, appreciation, and optimism, our mood shifts, and we attract more reasons to feel grateful, appreciated, and optimistic. Words are not merely sounds. They are frequencies that vibrate through our body, affecting us on a cellular level. They are the keys to unlocking emotions like joy, peace, love, and fulfillment. This is why it is so important to choose our words carefully. What we speak into existence, whether to ourselves, to others, or about our circumstances, has the power to manifest. The law of attraction teaches us that like attracts like. If we speak words of positivity, abundance, and success, we attract more of those things into our lives. If we speak words of lack, limitation, and despair, we create an environment that supports those outcomes. Our words are like magnets, drawing toward us whatever we focus on and give energy to. Words also shape our perception of time and the opportunities we encounter. If we say, "I don't have time," we close ourselves off to the possibility of creating space in our lives for what truly matters. If we say, "I'm too busy," we are often reinforcing the idea that we have no control over our schedule or priorities. But when we begin to speak with intention, saying, "I will make time for what is important," or "I am committed to finding balance," we begin to reshape our reality. I was very inspired by this. Who wanted to do a business plan that didn't say make a date? Our words in this case, shift our perception of time and open up the possibility for change. The language we use also plays a pivotal role in overcoming adversity. When faced with challenges, the words we choose to describe our circumstances can either empower us or defeat us. For example, if we say, "This is too difficult, I'll never make it," we reinforce feelings of helplessness and defeat. But when we say, "This challenge is difficult, but I am capable of overcoming it," we shift our mindset and begin to see the challenge as something we can learn from and grow through. The words we speak in the face of adversity are not only a reflection of our mindset, but they are also the foundation for how we will respond to and navigate that adversity. Words are far more than just a means of communication. They are the architects of our reality, shaping our inner world, influencing our relationships, and guiding the trajectory of our lives. Every word we speak, whether to ourselves or others, has the power to create and transform. When we recognize the power of our words, we begin to see the world through a different lens. One where our language shapes our thoughts, our experiences, and our destiny. By choosing our words wisely, we create a reality that aligns with our highest aspirations. A reality that is rooted in positivity, possibility, and purpose. The tendency to focus on problems rather than solutions is a natural one, as human beings are often drawn to the immediate challenges and obstacles they face. It's easy to get consumed by the weight of the issues at hand, to spend energy worrying about what's wrong, or to fall into a cycle of frustration and helplessness. But this kind of focus, though natural, can paralyze us. It anchors our minds in the negative, drawing our attention to what we don't want, rather than directing us to what we can do to make things better. The reality is, what we focus on expands. When we focus solely on problems, we reinforce a mindset of limitation, but when we direct our focus towards solutions, we open the door to possibilities, growth, and innovation. A problem-limited mindset often leaves us stuck, dwelling in a loop of analysis and overthinking. We might find ourselves rehashing the same issue over and over, dissecting what went wrong, why it happened, or who is to blame. While some reflection is necessary for growth, over-focusing on the problem can rob us of the mental and emotional energy we need to find a way forward. If you are constantly focused on what's wrong, it becomes harder to see the opportunities for change, the potential for improvement, and the paths that lead to solutions. Shifting our focus to solutions, on the other hand, not only gives us the energy to take action, but also helps us reframe our situation. It's about actively seeking ways to move forward rather than getting lost in what's holding us back. The key to overcoming any challenge is to train the mind to look for solutions first. When a problem arises, ask yourself, what can I do about this? Rather than immediately dwelling on the why or the what went wrong. This shift allows you to reclaim your sense of control and responsibility. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by circumstances, you feel empowered to find a way to address them. When we focus on solutions, we begin to cultivate a mindset that is rooted in possibility rather than limitation. This mindset fuels creativity, innovation, and resilience. When we stop allowing problems to dominate our thoughts, we make room for new ideas and fresh perspectives. It's in these moments of shifting focus that we begin to discover new ways of tackling challenges that may have seemed insurmountable before. In fact, the solutions to many of our problems are often hidden in plain sight. But we cannot see them if we are too consumed with the problem itself. One of the most powerful shifts in thinking occurs when we begin to approach problems as opportunities. Every challenge holds within it the potential for growth, learning, and improvement. By focusing on the solutions, we turn obstacles into stepping stones. For example, a setback in a project or a failure at work might initially seem discouraging, but if we focus on finding the solution, whether through brainstorming, learning from the experience, or asking for help, we turn the situation into an opportunity to enhance our skills, build resilience, and strengthen our capacity to handle future challenges. In many cases, a solution-oriented mindset also requires flexibility. It's important to remember that there's often more than one way to solve a problem. When we are too fixed on a single approach or outcome, we limit our options. But when we remain open-minded and willing to adapt, we allow ourselves to explore different solutions. This openness fosters creativity and innovation. It encourages experimentation and the willingness to pivot when necessary, rather than staying stuck in a rigid, problem-focused mindset. In the workplace, homes, or even in larger social systems, the most successful individuals and organizations are those that emphasize solutions over problems. When a team faces a setback or a challenge, the best teams come together to brainstorm and generate ideas for overcoming the issue at hand. They don't dwell on the failure, but rather focus on the steps they can take to improve, learn, and progress. Leaders who focus on solutions are able to motivate and inspire their teams, shifting their energy from frustration to action. They encourage a culture of problem solving, where every challenge is seen as an opportunity to grow stronger and become more resourceful. On a personal level, focusing on solutions fosters self-reliance and accountability. It teaches us that no matter the circumstances, we have the ability to influence the outcomes in our lives. Instead of blaming external factors or getting lost in the difficulties we face, we begin to realize that we have the power to change our reality. This mindset strengthens our sense of agency, helping us to take ownership of our decisions, actions, and outcomes. A solution-funded approach builds resilience. Life is full of unexpected twists, setbacks, and challenges. However, resilience is not about avoiding problems. It's about how we respond to them. Resilient people don't crumble when faced with adversity because they know that every problem has a solution, even if the solution isn't immediately clear. They trust in their ability to find a way through, and this trust fuels their persistence. Instead of surrendering to frustration or discouragement, they channel their energy into finding creative ways to overcome the difficulty. This ability to stay focused on solutions, to keep moving forward despite setbacks, is one of the greatest strengths anyone can develop. Shifting our focus to solutions also helps to reduce unnecessary stress and anxiety. When we focus on problems, our minds often spiral into worst-case scenarios. We start imagining how bad things could get, and this fuels our worry and fear. But when we focus on solutions, we regain a sense of control. We stop obsessing over what could go wrong, and instead, we direct our energy toward what can go right. This shift reduces the emotional weight of the problem and helps to manage stress levels. The mind naturally calms down when it has a clear path forward to pursue, and this clarity fosters peace of mind. Even when faced with uncertainty, focusing on solutions allows us to take constructive action. Often, we may not have all the answers or be able to control every aspect of the situation, but we always have control over how we choose to respond. By adopting a solution-oriented mindset, We ensure that we're actively looking for ways to move forward, no matter how unclear the path may seem. The key to transforming any situation lies in our ability to shift our focus. Problems are inevitable, and it's natural to acknowledge them. However, we must also recognize that our power lies in our ability to choose where we direct our attention. By focusing on solutions, we open up the space for growth, creativity, and action. We empower ourselves to take charge of our circumstances, moving from a place of helplessness to one of capability. This shift doesn't just change how we handle problems, it changes how we approach life itself, leading to greater success, fulfillment, and a deeper sense of purpose. Gratitude is a powerful force that has the ability to transform our lives in ways that we may not always fully understand. At its core, gratitude is the practice of acknowledging and appreciating the good things in our lives, no matter how small or large they may seem. Yet it is not simply about saying thank you or recognizing what we have. Gratitude is a mindset, a way of seeing the world that shifts our focus from what we lack to what we already possess. In doing so, it opens the door to deeper fulfillment, stronger relationships, and a more positive outlook on life. The power of gratitude begins with its ability to shift our perspective. In a world that is often focused on what's missing or what's wrong, it's easy to get caught up in a cycle of dissatisfaction, frustration, and stress. We may look at what others have and feel a sense of scarcity or envy, or we may get lost in the hustle and grind of our daily routines, overlooking the abundance that already surrounds us. And gratitude acts as a counterbalance to this tendency. When we take a moment to pause and reflect on the blessings we already have, whether it's our health, our relationships, our talents, or even the simple pleasures of life, we shift our attention from what we don't have to what we do. This shift, though subtle, can have a profound impact on our mental and emotional well-being. When we practice gratitude regularly, we begin to develop a deeper sense of contentment. It becomes easier to appreciate what we already have, and we stop taking things for granted. The ordinary moments in life, the ones that we may have once overlooked, become sources of joy and satisfaction. Gratitude helps us recognize the beauty in the everyday. It reminds us that we don't need to wait for something extraordinary to happen to experience joy or fulfillment. A quiet morning, a conversation with a friend, or a delicious meal becomes a reason for gratitude. And in those moments, we discover the richness of life that is often hidden in plain sight. Gratitude also plays a crucial role in fostering resilience. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and disappointments. In difficult times, it's easy to feel defeated or overwhelmed by the obstacles before us. However, when we cultivate a habit of gratitude, we build emotional strength. Gratitude allows us to see beyond our current struggles and find something to be thankful for, even in the most trying circumstances. It gives us the ability to reframe adversity, recognizing that even in hardship, there are lessons to be learned, strengths to be discovered, and opportunities for growth. A grateful heart doesn't ignore the pain or difficulty, but it helps to put things into perspective, making it easier to endure and overcome challenges with a positive mindset. Another important aspect of gratitude is its ability to improve our relationships. When we express gratitude toward others, we not only acknowledge their actions, but also strengthen our connection with them. Whether it's a simple thank you for a kind gesture, or more heartfelt expression of appreciation for someone's support, people who feel appreciated are more likely to feel motivated to continue contributing to the relationship, creating a positive cycle of giving and receiving. Gratitude has the ability to deepen trust, improve communication, and enhance the emotional intimacy between individuals, whether in personal relationships. In addition to deepening our relationships, gratitude also plays a significant role in enhancing our physical health. Research has shown that practicing gratitude can lead to improved sleep, reduced stress levels, and stronger immune function. When we focus on the positive aspects of our lives, we reduce the harmful effects of chronic stress, which can take a toll on our physical well-being. The positive emotions associated with gratitude, joy, contentment, and peace, trigger the release of chemicals like dopamine and serotonin in the brain, which help to improve mood and reduce feelings of anxiety or depression. In turn, these benefits translate into a healthier, more vibrant life. Gratitude also strengthens our overall sense of abundance. The more we practice gratitude, the more we begin to notice the abundance around us. It's as if we activate a radar for all the blessings in our lives. And the more we recognize them, the more they multiply. Instead of feeling like there is never enough, whether it's time, money, or love, we begin to see how much we actually have. Gratitude helps us break free from the scarcity mindset that often keeps us trapped in fear and anxiety, and instead allows us to embrace the abundance that is already present. When we are grateful for what we have, we open ourselves up to receiving more, because we send a message to the universe that we are content and appreciative of the gifts in our lives. In addition, gratitude has a ripple effect that extends beyond ourselves. When we express gratitude, we inspire others to do the same. It creates an atmosphere of positivity that can spread through communities, workplaces, and families. Imagine a world where people consistently express gratitude to each other, where kindness and appreciation are the norm rather than the exception. This collective energy of gratitude has the potential to transform entire environments, creating cultures of support, encouragement, and cooperation. It becomes easier to build trust and foster collaboration when people feel valued and appreciated. And this ripple effect can lead to stronger communities and more harmonious relationships. Gratitude also invites more of what we appreciate into our lives. The law of attraction teaches us that like attracts like. And when we focus on the good, we attract more of it. By appreciating what we have, we open ourselves up to receiving even more. When we express gratitude for the opportunities, experiences, and relationships that enrich our lives, we signal to the universe that we are ready to receive even greater blessings. Every passing session, this can lead to unexpected opportunities, new relationships, and a more fulfilling life overall. One of the most transformative aspects of gratitude is its ability to rewire our brains. The more we practice gratitude, the more we strengthen the neural pathways associated with positive emotions and optimism. Studies have shown that individuals who consistently practice gratitude have higher levels of happiness and well-being because they train their brains to focus on the positive. Over time, this rewiring becomes second nature, and it becomes easier to find reasons to be grateful, even in challenging circumstances. What once may have been a difficult or forced practice gradually becomes an automatic response, changing the way we perceive and interact with the world. Gratitude is a choice. It is a conscious decision to shift our focus from what is lacking to what is present, from what is wrong to what is right. It's about cultivating a mindset that seeks out the positive, even in the midst of adversity. And the more we choose gratitude, the more we experience its transformative effects. From our emotional health to our relationships, from our physical well-being to our outlook on life. Gratitude is a powerful tool that can shift the trajectory of our lives. It may seem simple, but its impact is profound. By practicing gratitude, we unlock the potential for greater happiness, deeper connections, and a life that is full of abundance and possibility. Personal responsibility is the foundation of a fulfilling and successful life. It's the recognition that we are the architects of our own destiny, the ones who shape the course of our actions, choices, and experiences. When we take full ownership of our lives, we stop looking to external circumstances or other people to dictate our outcomes. Instead, we realize that our power lies within ourselves and our ability to respond to what life presents. Personal responsibility is not about blaming ourselves for everything that goes wrong, but about acknowledging that we always have control over how we choose to react, adapt, and grow. At its core, personal responsibility means understanding that we are accountable for our actions and their consequences. Every decision we make, whether conscious or unconscious, has an impact on our life and the lives of others. It's easy to fall into the trap of playing the victim, blaming our circumstances, environment, or even other people for the challenges we face. But the truth is, while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond to it. Life will always have its challenges, and things won't always go the way we expect, but how we respond is always within our power. When we embrace personal responsibility, we take back that power. One of the first steps in embracing personal responsibility is recognizing that no one else is coming to save us. Waiting for external forces, circumstances, or people to change in order to improve our situation is a sure path to stagnation. We must be proactive, not reactive. When we accept that we are responsible for the choices we make, big or small, we become empowered to take action. Whether it's our career, our relationships, our health, or our finances, we have the ability to make decisions that will improve our circumstances. The moment we realize this, we begin to see that we are not at the mercy of our circumstances, but rather in the driver's seat of our own journey. Personal responsibility also means taking ownership of our emotional and mental state. It's easy to fall into patterns of blaming others for how we feel. She made me angry, or he upset me, are common phrases that many of us use without thinking. But the reality is, no one can make us feel anything without our consent. Our emotions are a reflection of how we interpret and respond to situations. And we alone have the power to change that interpretation. When we take responsibility for our emotions, we free ourselves from being victims of other people's actions or words. Instead of reacting impulsively or holding grudges, we can choose how to respond in a way that reflects our values and goals. Taking personal responsibility also means making conscious decisions about how we spend our time and energy. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, television, work pressures, and countless other obligations. It's easy to get lost in the noise and spend our time reacting to external stimuli rather than intentionally pursuing our goals and desires. However, time is one of our most precious resources. And once it's spent, it's gone forever. When we take responsibility for how we manage our time, we shift from a state of constant reaction to one of deliberate action. This requires discipline, focus, and the ability to set clear priorities that align with our values and long-term vision. Another crucial element of personal responsibility is taking ownership of our growth and learning. It's easy to get comfortable in our current knowledge or skills, but the most successful individuals are those who never stop learning. Whether it's through formal education, reading, self-reflection, or seeking feedback from others, we are responsible for expanding our minds and capabilities. Instead of blaming the system, the economy, or our background for limiting opportunities, we acknowledge that growth is a continuous process. and that we have the power to equip ourselves with the knowledge, skills, and mindset necessary to succeed. Part of personal responsibility also involves being honest with ourselves about our weaknesses and limitations. Self-awareness is a critical component of growth, and it's only when we acknowledge where we need to improve that we can begin to take actionable steps toward change. For example, if we know we struggle with procrastination, taking responsibility means confronting that issue and actively working on overcoming it. It may involve developing better time management skills, creating routines, or even seeking support to help us break through barriers. Ignoring our weaknesses or pretending they don't exist only hinders progress. Personal responsibility requires the courage to face our flaws head on and take steps to improve. Equally important is the recognition that we are responsible for our own happiness. Many people spend years looking for fulfillment in external sources, whether it's a job, a relationship, or material possessions. While these things can bring temporary joy, they cannot provide lasting happiness. True contentment comes from within. When we take responsibility for our own happiness, we stop waiting for others to make us happy or for our circumstances to change in order to feel fulfilled. Instead, we cultivate inner peace and satisfaction by aligning our actions, thoughts, and choices with our deeper values and desires. We learn that happiness is a byproduct of a life well lived, not something that can be found in external validation. Personal responsibility also entails making ethical and moral choices, even when no one is watching. Integrity is the foundation of trust and respect. And when we take responsibility for our actions, we ensure that we remain true to our principles. Living with integrity means doing what is right, even when it's difficult. It means owning up to mistakes, apologizing when necessary, and learning from our experiences. It also involves standing up for what we believe in and taking action to protect our values, even when it's unpopular or inconvenient. Living with integrity builds our character and our reputation, both of which are essential for long-term success. Taking personal responsibility allows us to embrace failure as a stepping stone rather than an end. Too often we see failure as something to avoid, to fear, or to be ashamed of. But when we take responsibility for our actions, we understand that failure is not a reflection of our worth. It is a part of the process of growth. The key is not to avoid failure, but to learn from it and use it as fuel to move forward. When we stop blaming others for our setbacks and instead take full ownership of our mistakes, we free ourselves from regret and self-doubt. Every failure is an opportunity to adjust our course, refine our strategy, and become better versions of ourselves. Personal responsibility is the key to living a life of empowerment, growth, and fulfillment. It's about taking ownership of our choices, actions, emotions, and circumstances, and understanding that we have the power to change our lives at any given moment. When we embrace this mindset, we stop giving away our power to external factors and realize that the most important factor in our success is ourselves. Through personal responsibility, we take control of our future and build a life that reflects our highest potential. It is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Fear is one of the most powerful and pervasive emotions that can hold us back from living our full potential. It can cripple us, paralyze us, and stop us from pursuing our dreams and goals. Fear is not inherently bad. It is a natural part of being human. It serves as a protective mechanism, alerting us to danger and keeping us safe. However, fear can also become a barrier, preventing us from stepping into the unknown or embracing opportunities that have the potential to lead to personal growth, success, and fulfillment. The key is not to eliminate fear, but to learn how to navigate it and transform it into a force for growth and action. At the root of most fears is the fear of the unknown. Our minds are wired to seek safety and predictability, which is why stepping into unfamiliar territory triggers a sense of danger or discomfort. Whether it's starting a new job, taking on a leadership role, or even expressing ourselves in a new way, the unknown represents uncertainty, and with it comes the fear of failure, rejection, or making mistakes. And with it comes even further luggage room. The unknown is dangerous, and that's the fact. However, the unknown is also where growth happens. Every significant breakthrough in history, every innovation, every act of courage has come from stepping into the unknown despite fear. The question we must ask ourselves is not, what if I fail, but rather, what if I don't try? When we reframe fear in this way, we realize that the real danger is in staying stuck, in not pursuing the very things that could change our lives. Overcoming fear requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing fear as an obstacle, we can choose to see it as a signal that we are on the verge of something meaningful. When fear arises, it's often an indication that we are stretching beyond our comfort zone, reaching for something greater. Fear and excitement are often two sides of the same coin. The feeling of fear we experience when we take on new challenges is the same physiological response as excitement. The difference lies in how we interpret and respond to it. If we label that feeling as fear, we may retreat or hold back. But if we label it as excitement or anticipation, we can transform that energy into motivation and drive. One of the most powerful ways to overcome fear is through action. Action diminishes fear. When we face our fears directly, whether it's through taking small steps or jumping in wholeheartedly, we begin to realize that the things we feared were not as terrifying as we imagined. The more we confront our fears, the less power they have over us. It is through action that we begin to build confidence and resilience. Even if the outcome isn't perfect, the act of trying and moving forward proves to ourselves that we are capable, and that in itself is a victory. Another way to overcome fear is by changing the narrative we tell ourselves. The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality. If we constantly tell ourselves that we are not good enough, that we will fail, or that we are not deserving of success, we reinforce the very fears that hold us back. But when we rewrite our inner dialogue and replace those negative, limiting beliefs with positive, empowering thoughts, we begin to shift our mindset. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, we can focus on what could go right. Instead of doubting our abilities, we can affirm our strengths and resources. Self-talk is a powerful tool, and by using it to our advantage, we can weaken the grip of fear and empower ourselves to take action. It's also important to recognize that fear often stems from the stories we've internalized from our past experiences, or from the expectations placed upon us by society, family, or peers. Sometimes fear is not even based on the present moment, but rather on the shadows of the past or the imagined futures. We must challenge these fears by questioning their validity. Are they based on real threats? Or are they projections of our anxieties and insecurities? Often, when we step back and analyze our fears, we see that they are not as rational or real as they initially seemed. By questioning and deconstructing our fears, we can remove their power and take more confident, deliberate steps forward. A critical part of overcoming fear is cultivating a sense of courage. And courage is not the absence of fear, it is the ability to act in spite of it. Courage is about acknowledging the fear, but choosing to move forward anyway. Courage comes from the recognition that the value of what we stand to gain, the growth, the learning, the success, far outweighs the discomfort of fear. Courage is built through practice. The more we choose to act in the face of fear, the stronger our courage becomes. And over time, what once felt daunting and overwhelming becomes manageable and even energizing. Another key strategy in overcoming fear is seeking support from others. Fear can feel isolating, as it often leads us to believe that we are alone in our struggles or that others will judge us for our vulnerability. However, when we share our fears with others, especially those who are supportive, encouraging, and understanding, we create an environment of safety and empowerment. By speaking our fears out loud, we often find that they are less overwhelming. Sharing our challenges also opens the door to wisdom, advice, and encouragement from others who have faced similar fears and overcome them. Mindfulness and breathing exercises are also incredibly powerful tools for managing fear. When we are faced with fear, our bodies often respond with a surge of adrenaline and a racing heart. In these moments, it can be easy to become overwhelmed by anxiety and stress. Mindfulness helps us center ourselves in the present moment and detach from the anxious thoughts that fuel our fear. By focusing on our breath, slowing down, and being present, we can calm our minds and regain control. The practice of mindfulness helps us observe our fears without becoming consumed by them, allowing us to respond with clarity and composure rather than reaction and panic. Overcoming fear is also a journey of self-compassion. Fear often thrives on self-criticism and perfectionism. We fear failure because we equate it with a personal deficiency or inadequacy. But in reality, failure is an essential part of the process of growth and learning. When we accept ourselves fully, flaws, imperfections, and all, we free ourselves from the paralyzing effects of fear. We come to understand that failure is not a reflection of our worth, but a valuable lesson in resilience and adaptation. With self-compassion, we allow ourselves to take risks without the heavy burden of self-judgment, knowing that each experience, whether we succeed or fail, brings us closer to the person we are meant to become. Fear can only hold us back if we allow it to. It is not something we can eliminate entirely, but it is something we can learn to manage and transform. The more we confront our fears, the more we realize that they are not the monsters we once imagined them to be. We have the power to move through fear, not around it. By taking action, shifting our mindset, building courage, seeking support, practicing mindfulness, and embracing self-compassion, we can face our fears with strength and resilience. And in doing so, we open the door to the life we've always dreamed of living, a life filled with courage, possibility, and growth. Fear becomes not a barrier, but a stepping stone to the future we are meant to create. Persistence is one of the most essential qualities for achieving success in any area of life. It is the ability to keep going even when faced with challenges, setbacks, or obstacles. Persistence is what separates those who eventually succeed from those who give up along the way. It's not the absence of failure that defines success, but the ability to continue pushing forward in spite of it. When we persist, we are saying that we are determined to reach our goals, no matter the difficulties that stand in our way. In the face of challenges, many people are tempted to quit when things become tough. They may look at the size of the problem or the time it will take and decide that it's not worth the effort. However, success is often not the result of a single flawless attempt. It's a series of small steps, consistent actions, and a willingness to try again after failure. Persistence is about the long game, understanding that the road to success is not always linear and that setbacks are part of the process. It's through persistence that we build the resilience needed to keep going even when the outcome isn't immediately clear or when it feels like we're not making progress. Persistence teaches us that failure is not a permanent state, but a stepping stone to success. Often, when we fail, we view it as the end of the road, something that defines us or stops us in our tracks. However, failure is simply feedback, a moment that points us toward the adjustments we need to make. When we persist, we are telling ourselves that failure is not something to fear, but something to learn from. Every failure holds within it valuable lessons that refine our approach, sharpen our skills, and ultimately prepare us for the next step towards success. The more persistent we are, the more we learn how to navigate obstacles and adjust our strategy, making us more capable of handling challenges in the future. Another powerful aspect of persistence is the ability to overcome doubt and uncertainty. On the journey to achieving any goal, there will always be moments of doubt. There will be times when we question whether our efforts are worth it or if we are even capable of reaching the destination. Persistence acts as a counterbalance to self-doubt. When we persist, we refuse to let our doubts define our path. We show up day after day, regardless of the inner voice that says we can't do it or that we're not good enough. It is in the act of continuing, despite those doubts, that we build confidence. With each step forward, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of achieving more than we initially thought. Persistence is also the key to building momentum. When we consistently put in the effort, even in small increments, we begin to see results. Momentum is the result of sustained effort, and it's often the difference between success and failure. Many people give up just before they experience the breakthrough they've been working toward, not realizing that persistence is what fuels the momentum that leads to success. In the beginning, progress may seem slow, and it may feel like we are not getting anywhere. But over time, those small actions compound, and the consistent effort begins to yield significant results. The longer we persist, the more momentum we create, and the closer we get to our goals. Persistence also builds character. It teaches us the importance of discipline, patience, and commitment. In a world where instant gratification is often the norm, persistence reminds us that the most meaningful achievements require time, effort, and consistency. It helps us develop the resilience needed to weather life's storms. When things get tough, persistent people don't throw in the towel. Instead, they dig in their heels, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity to grow strong. They understand that success doesn't come overnight, and that enduring the process is just as important as reaching the destination. The person we become through persistence is often more valuable than the goal itself. because it's through persistence that we develop the inner strength and fortitude to face whatever life throws at us. One of the most powerful aspects of persistence is the ability to turn setbacks into comebacks. No one is immune to difficulties. Everyone faces adversity at some point in their journey. But what separates those who ultimately succeed from those who don't is their ability to rise after falling. Persistence gives us the strength to rise again, no matter how many times we stumble. It's easy to look at someone who has succeeded and think that they had a smooth, uninterrupted path to get there. The truth, however, is that every success story is filled with moments of failure, frustration, and discouragement. What makes the difference is not the lack of adversity, but the ability to keep going despite it. When we persist, we embrace the idea that setbacks are temporary, and we choose to rise stronger each time we fall. In addition to building personal resilience, persistence also has a magnetic quality. When we show determination and keep moving forward, others begin to notice. People respect and admire those who are committed to their goals, regardless of how difficult the journey may be. Persistence attracts support, mentorship, and opportunity. As we persist, we create opportunities for others to see our potential and our commitment. And that can lead to invaluable connections, collaborations, and openings. People are more likely to help those who are actively working toward their goals because persistence demonstrates that we are serious, dedicated, and willing to do what it takes. Persistence also fosters a sense of purpose and meaning. When we commit to something, whether it's a personal goal, a career, or a mission, persistence allows us to see the journey through. Without persistence, we might give up halfway through, leaving us with a sense of incompletion. It's persistence that allows us to find meaning in the struggle, because as we continue on the path, we realize that the journey itself is where the real growth and transformation occur. Every challenge we overcome along the way adds depth to our purpose. And when we finally reach the end, we can look back with pride at the strength and character we built through our persistent efforts. Persistence helps us cultivate a mindset of never giving up. This mindset is incredibly powerful because it reframes every setback as a temporary obstacle rather than a permanent failure. When we approach life with the understanding that giving up is never an option, we begin to see every challenge as something to be solved rather than something that defeats us. It's a shift in thinking that makes us more solution-oriented, more resourceful, and more determined to find a way forward, no matter the circumstances. Persistence empowers us to face each day with renewed purpose, knowing that we have the strength to overcome whatever stands in our way. Persistence is the engine that drives success. It is the unwavering commitment to our goals, the willingness to keep going even when the road gets tough, and the understanding that real achievement comes not from avoiding failure, but from pushing through it. When we persist, we not only reach our goals, but become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The power of persistence is not just in achieving what we set out to do, but in the transformation that happens along the way. Through persistence, we learn that there is no limit to what we can achieve when we refuse to give up. Persistence is not just a quality, it is a way of life. It is the bridge that connects our dreams with reality, the force that keeps us moving forward even when the path seems uncertain. Life will undoubtedly throw obstacles in our way, and there will be times when we feel like giving up. But it is in those very moments that our true strength is forged. Success is not determined by the number of times we fall, but by the number of times we rise. Keep going and push through. So, no matter how hard the journey may seem, remember this: your breakthrough is often one step away from your greatest challenge. Keep pushing, keep believing, and keep persevering. Every step, no matter how small, is progress. Every failure is just a lesson on the way to your success. The power of persistence lies in its ability to transform setbacks into stepping stones. When you choose persistence, you choose to never be defeated, to rise above every obstacle, and to create a future filled with the fruits of your unwavering effort. Never underestimate the power of perseverance, for it is the relentless pursuit of your dreams that will ultimately define your legacy. Keep going, for the best is yet to come.